Welcome to another episode of Lit and Bruised, an Atlanta literary podcast. I'm Matt DeBenedictis.
And I'm John Carroll. And with us today, we have Jason Mallory and Eli Banks to discuss Scene and Song Missing and just any other kind of random pop culture discussions that we get into with our guests, especially Jason Mallory. We also want to let you know about the Scene and Song Missing show that is going to be tomorrow night at the Highland Inn and Ballroom Lounge, which is Wednesday, February 21st. Show starts at 9. And what's really cool is this is a Scene and Song presents Magic Miss Atlanta. Atlantans perform original music, comedy, and more about Dungeons & Dragons, which Matt leads me to believe that they have done multiple Dungeons & Dragons shows. What's also interesting about this show and makes it a little bit sweeter and potentially even a little hard is that Julian Madunio is going to be hosting, and this will be his last show in Atlanta, I believe, before he moves to Chicago.
The Windy City's getting a good one.
I know, we'll miss him. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy the show.
So, John, what's your favorite pop culture reference, like, to be used in, like, literary stories?
Are you asking me because you're just wanting to know, or because I've used a lot of them?
I actually want to know, and an answer that is not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, you asshole. That one, I do have some experience with writing about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know what's interesting is I realized there was about 3 years there when there's about a 3-year period of doing readings and writing stories where I would mention 9/11. I always mention 9/11. It was fucking weird. I know that's grim.
It is a pop culture reference.
It is. And you know what? I realized that it was, I think for our generation, it was kind of like our Vietnam, our World War II. You know, this big thing that kind of changed everything. Because I was 19 when 9/11 happened, and never forget. And it was just interesting. So I eventually,
it's something it's an ultimate pop culture reference because it's something everyone remembers exact details. Immediately, the first question that comes up is, "Where were you?"
Definitely, yeah.
And it forces everyone to become a storyteller.
Exactly. I mean, I think my parents, it was also for them. I think one of those things was not even necessarily Vietnam, but where were you when JFK was shot? Because my parents know these things. And so during 9/11, I was sitting in a cubicle. I had a sales job, and I was sitting in front of my computer, and then somebody was like, "Hey, I think a commuter plane flew into one of the Twin Towers." And they're like, "Oh, that's crazy." And then we're all getting on CNN, and then bam, the second plane hits. And so ultimately, though, what I did is that I went ahead and just wrote a story about 9/11. And I haven't written about 9/11 since. I haven't really thought about that, but I haven't mentioned it since. What about you? What is your pop culture reference?
I mean, definitely my favorite would be the use of A Wonderful Life in Jernigan by writer David Gates. I know we've talked about it on the show before where, like, someone's overdosed and, like, character walks in and kind of, like, just the mix of both things.
So you weren't just asking about me, like what I write about pop culture just in general, what my pop culture references are. I mean, I think when you're looking at it, the one that comes to mind of writers that are out there was Chuck Klosterman. Mm-hmm. You know, he had, Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs. That was all pop culture references, which, you know, maybe I shouldn't admit this on a literary podcast, but, you know, that really influenced me because I was obsessed with that.
You've mentioned it many times on the podcast.
Also, Bill Simmons, who used to be a writer for ESPN, and now he's got a deal with HBO. He made sports more interesting by always referencing things. So you could be sitting there reading this story about Wilt Chamberlain, and then he would mention Sex and the City or Entourage or whatever TV show was popular that year.
Yeah.
And it just kept it really fucking funny. I can see the book on my shelf over there. It's called The Book of Basketball. It says basketball in really big letters.
Book.
Yeah, it's 700 pages long. It's the biggest book I've ever read outside of the Bible.
Wow.
And it is fucking
So it's like an
hilarious.
infinity jest about basketball.
Yeah, an infinite jest of basketball. He starts in 1945 when the NBA was created. It's all about NBA basketball, and it goes up until I think he published that book in 2009, and then the one I have is like it went to paperback, and he edited a bunch of shit, added like 100 more pages to it, and it came back out in like 2010, 2011. So Bill Simmons, Chuck Klosterman, I mean, I think those guys are pretty much have the corner of the market there on pop culture references in mainstream writing, at least. So.
Yeah.
But that's a great thing to bring up because this is our scene missing episode. Scene missing and song missing, they are synonymous, one and the same, kind of. With us, Jason Mallory. Hi, Jason.
Well, it's more of a horsing around, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be all about.
You explain it for me.
It doesn't have to be all about scene missing and song missing, does it? It can be about.
It's the conversation starter.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure. Yeah, we'll kick off with that stuff.
Or pop culture could be the conversation starter, and scene song missing can be.
I just love how you kick this off with 9/11.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
You were
telling people to come to listen to this, and they're going to be like, oh, you listened to it. We had a great time. We were cutting up, fooling around, and first thing they hear is
John Carroll.
Where were you?
Yeah.
You know.
Where were you in the towers, Phil? Jason.
Jesus Christ.
Jason, where were you?
I actually do remember that day. I mean, I would
course
never
you do.
make light of the actual event.
I'm not making light of it either.
But I'm making light of the fact that it's the first out of the gate topic. I
ruined this episode for you.
No, I mean,
I guess this is my fault for like setting the rules of like no Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, you were the other
choice too.
Well, okay, like here's my thing. Like
16 years ago.
No, I remember. I do remember what I was doing. I was in a restaurant and nobody was talking. That was what I remember. That's the most vivid memory I have. Nobody was speaking in the restaurant. It was a restaurant full of people. We were all glued to the TVs. Nobody was speaking. It was crazy. I've never experienced anything like it. People who, like kids that were born after, like born in what, 2002? What are they, like 15 now?
Something like that.
15, 16, yeah.
They don't have any idea what it was like. They don't have any idea what it was like. Just like I don't have any idea what it was like when JFK got shot.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch the documentaries. You can watch Oliver Stone's classic, featuring starring JFK or not JFK, Kevin Costner. I guess it is starring JFK, but it's mainly starring Kevin Costner.
And it does get absorbed into the pop culture because people do end up making jokes about it, and they do end up making movies about it. I mean, shit, they had 9/11 movies that came out just a few years later, the next year.
Yeah.
What is it? Was it United
93?
Yeah.
And what's the Nicolas Cage one?
Oh, that was like I think it was just called World Trade Center.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Was he a firefighter?
Yeah, firefighter. Yeah.
Dude, of course Nicolas Cage would do that shit, capitalizing.
I mean, think about all the Trump movies that are going to get made if we can get the. I mean, if we don't get Handmaid's Tale,
Well, I'm going to pause really quick because I want to come back to this, but also with Jason Mallory is Eli Banks.
Mm-hmm. That's me.
Now, Jason, why'd you bring Eli today?
I mean, Eli is a showrunner in town, very active in the lit community. You've done Right Club.
I have done Right Club, yeah.
Did you win?
Yeah. No.
Okay, who'd you go up against?
Rightly so. I went up against Theron Patterson, and I had this goofy story about, was that space trains? Yeah, about trains in space. One train in space who had to overcome. There's a little engine that could kind of story. I was really proud of it. It was a really fun piece. Got a really good response. He had a very, very impressive piece about his, I think, if I remember correctly, it was his dad walking in on him masturbating. And it was a really both profound and hilarious piece. And, there's no reason he shouldn't have won. They were both good, but it was over before it started.
Fair enough.
He's also a really good writer. So
have you won Right Club, Jason?
Plenty of times. Very first time I went up against Nick Tukoski, I beat him. That's why he's been mad at me all these years.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, you guys did have a big, thing. I've only done Right Club once. It was my third reading. I was terrible. I'm still convinced, though. I've gone back and listened to the recordings that my story was better. I just didn't deliver
Who did
it
you
better.
go up against?
I went up against fucking Man Martin. Dude had like
I know
fucking
who
like
that is.
3 novels out. He's like 60 and like
Wait,
storyteller
he
of
has
the
a
year.
mustache, right?
No, he's like a bald guy, kind of a shorter bald guy. He's amazing. He is an awesome storyteller. I think he wrote his piece in the car on the way over there. It was pretty good.
You just sold it, you know?
Yeah, he just sold it. My story was, I still to this day, that was like fucking 5 years ago. I'm like, my piece was better.
Yeah.
But he just, it just goes to show it's about the delivery. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the dude's this like storyteller actor. Found out. I actually learned a lot about him in the last like week or two.
Yeah,
You should have him on.
Yeah, we should have Man Martin on. We should have like a repeat. Maybe we should like right club it up
Bout it
again.
up.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Oh, you guys go up against each other or something?
he'll still beat me. I'll just be better this time. You know, it's been some years. I've got a couple of readings under my belt. I don't have to get drunk at readings to do them anymore. So
Maybe Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and not 9/11.
you know, man, if I did a 9/11 piece of Right Club, I think I'd win. That's the problem with like Right Club though. I love Right Club, but I think the problem is if you go sentimental and somebody goes jokey, you're gonna lose.
You're going to lose.
Jokey's
Sentimental
gonna lose.
goes, okay.
Sentimental's gonna win. Jokey's gonna lose. I mean, I've watched too many pieces that were like blew somebody out. That was like it was jokey though, or it was fiction. Lose to like kind of like a mediocre sentimental piece. You know, it's like if you start talking about your life and some sort of tragedy.
Oh, tragedy's going to win every time.
Tragedy wins every time. I almost feel like you should not be allowed to talk about tragedy at Right Club because
Sure.
if somebody's like got like they're like
You gotta have some kind of tragedy in there. Or
Yeah,
why else
but-
are you yelling at a bunch of drunk people in the Highlands?
But I mean, if you get like AC/DC versus Guns N' Roses, and you're like, let's say you get Guns N' Roses, and you just write some like ridiculous like fan fiction piece about like fucking like Axl Rose like becoming a superhero, and let's say it's fucking phenomenal and it's so good they should fucking make a movie of that shit. But then you like write a story about like how you were 8 and like you were in a car wreck or something, and someone died, and you were listening to AC/DC, like you're gonna win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if it's like half-assed. Like, just,
well, I mean,
this is the story's going to win. You don't even have to be a good writer. Just get up there and mumble about it. It's
well,
good.
frankly, it depends on what the tragedy is. Depends on the tragedy.
True. I mean,
Depends
but
on
if,
the tragedy.
if you go in there and it's like some life-altering shit that you had to overcome, I don't care. You're going to win, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I ever... Actually, I'll never do Right Club again. Like, I think it's awesome and I love it. I'll never do it again, though.
Why?
Because I don't want to compete. That's not how I function. It's just like... Because I'm not gonna write that story. I'm not gonna write that sentimental piece. I'm gonna write some bullshit and just like have a good time doing it.
But what? Remember, it's like we were talking about last time, though. Like, what about art for the sake of art, writing for the sake of writing?
Just because I write doesn't mean I have to compete. I can still write the fucking story.
But you have an invitation to come read it in front of all these people.
yeah.
It's just about reading it regardless.
Yeah,
of
regardless. Yeah, it's an opportunity
winning or
to
not.
have your work heard, regardless of the setting. Like, that's a lot of reasons. You know, like a lot of times I went into Right Club, it really didn't matter if I won or lost because it was like you still get that.
I don't believe that literature should be a competition, Jason Mallory.
Oh, well, that's between you and
God.
Right Club.
And God.
Take it up with them.
It's always a competition. It might not be with other people. It can be with yourself or
That's a good
your past writing.
That's a good point. All
think
right.
competition
Most
is
writers,
healthy.
it's about
I'll
themselves.
I'll back down.
Every day.
If I ever got asked to do Right Club again, I'd consider it. But the last time I did Right Club, though, I said some very profane things.
Right.
So I don't know.
Afterwards or during?
Oh, during my story, it was back in my like shock value days. I would I would say I don't have to be the best writer in the room. I just need to be the most memorable.
Yeah.
And so I would just say a lot of fucked up shit, which is a great method, you know. So, but
Well, that's why I brought Eli here for his profane, his filthy mouth.
Yeah, watch out.
Yeah. But no, why don't you tell them a little bit about Twin Head and all that stuff?
Yeah, so I'm the co-artistic director of Twin Head Theater, and we write and produce all our own shows. It's all theater-based, a lot of sketch comedy, some full-length productions as well. But they started, I came in a couple years into the project, with the intention of just, being able to produce our own work and not be beholden to whatever was already out there.
And you guys write your own scripts.
We write all our own scripts, almost entirely. Occasionally we produce other scripts. And we have actually been considering lately going out and trying to find other work to produce, which I think would be great for us. But on our schedule, which just gets tighter and tighter as we get older, it's more about like, oh God, we are supposed to do a show in 2 weeks. Quick, we need to write a script. But
how does that process go with an ensemble? Are there certain people that are designated to write the scripts, or are there do y'all write it as a team?
It's a mix. We usually start with huge group writing sessions. I mean, between 8 and 14 people sometimes for brainstorming and just bouncing ideas around. Especially for our sketch shows, that's an easier way to kind of get the seeds out early, and then that sort of whittles down. People will split off. Some people are more comfortable writing on their own, and they'll write a script and send it in, and then we might workshop it a little bit with a group. Other people write in pairs, and sometimes we sit down literally as a group, 4, 5, 6 people, and go line by line. But we spend probably most of the time writing in terms of our projects, and then we rehearse for a couple of weeks, a few nights a week. We've had different methods too. One of my favorites, we did a show called Shake and Bake, and it was this. The concept was the other 4 writers, or the other 3 writers who were considered to possibly be the actual Shakespeare, Edward de Vere, Francis Bacon, I can't remember. Ben Affleck, yeah. Where it was just them getting stoned in their basement and happenstance writing Shakespeare shows, kind of. But we did a mashup, basically. So we all broke up as a group, and we read through or read summaries of a couple of different Shakespeare shows each. And we came back together, and everybody had we sort of talked about different through lines and plot threads and characters that we liked and how they might work together. And then we set up very loose improv scenes in our living room and got up and literally we'd play different improv games, tagging out or word buzzer. And we filmed the whole thing, and we did it for hours for a couple nights. And then we went back through and just watched that and built the script out of what came out of that. It was really fun. We've done that a couple times. It's one of our fun methods that we use when we've got more time to work on it and kind of be a little more free with how we're building it. Lately, it's been a lot of more structured, just kind of like individual or small group writing.
Well, just hit the mic. I've known of Twin Head for a long time, and I've seen a lot of y'all do things around town, but I didn't really have any true interaction until we signed your wife on to be in Transgression, Second Star to the Right, episode 2. She played one of the Lost Boys. And I shouldn't say this on the podcast, but she was kind of my favorite character. I think I pulled her aside.
I'd like to mention that my girlfriend was also
your girl,
one of the Lost Boys.
With me.
Yeah, and apparently second fiddle, I would say, didn't quite measure up.
You're Cherry came on as she came on as an extra.
Oh, that's right, pirate. That's right. I'm sorry, I got mixed up.
Yeah, you got mixed up because she wasn't even. She came on as an extra.
I was trying to take this extra and elevate her.
How closely you were paying attention to your girlfriend's performance.
The good news is in episode 3, which actually we are writing this. We've already storyboarded it, and Laura Relier, and I, we write those.
Yeah,
and we're writing episode 3 the day after Christmas. And your girlfriend, Cherry Del Rosario, she's got quite the part that we're going to be writing in. And you will be joining us as well in episode 3. You also have a part, so we'll be cooking up some good pirate lines for y'all.
Well, can I get y'all's read on something? Something happened to me today.
Yes.
And I was just going to tell us a general story.
Okay.
So I take Marta, right? And
through the hood.
Just through the city of Atlanta.
I was just doing a Outcast reference there.
Okay. What's that from? What?
I think it's Elevators.
See, now this whole anecdote's been derailed.
Sorry, I got an Outcast.
For an Outcast.
Well, you're like, I'm taking Marta.
Pick up on immediately.
The hood.
Okay. You should have sang it, is what I'm saying. Because I was just like, oh no, through many neighborhoods. You're right. Yes, Marta does go through many neighborhoods.
Taking Marta.
So there's this guy on the Marta who's wearing a blue jumpsuit, right? And it has like stars on the collar. Do you guys know what that is? Is that military?
No. Sounds familiar.
Okay, I look more
like stars on a pin or like.
Well, just like no, just like on the collar.
Okay.
So he's on Marta and he looks harmless enough. So I sit down next to him, and we're riding along, and he like taps me twice, and he's to indicate like he needs to get up. So I'm like, oh, he needs to get off on the next stop. So I like let him get up. The train's moving, so it's kind of a pain to like get up and like shift around, and, like, you know, let him out of here. But I was like, I guess he's just anxious to get to the next stop. Next stop comes and goes. He doesn't get off. He had just gotten up to get away from me, I guess.
Whoa.
It was the only explanation I can think of, right? Like, it was just like, or he was just like, I'm out of here. Because he literally was 5 feet in front of me. He was just standing up holding the pole. So, like, now I'm like, what is this guy's deal? Like, that's weird. But finally, you know, whatever. It's morning
if
commute.
If you're wearing a jumpsuit, you obviously are someone who's active.
Like, I guess he just didn't want me to sit next to him. So he gets up, he goes around, and then, so, like, I'm kind of like, you know, your eyes just kind of fall on different things while you're sitting there looking around the train. And so, like, I look up, though, and he's, like, staring down at me, right? He's very tall. So he's, like, staring down at me, and he's glaring at me. He's got this, like, fucking thunderous look in his eyes. He's just very intense, like, laser beams out of your eyes kind of intensity. He looks at me, and he starts, and then, I meet his eyes, and he's still staring at me, and I don't look away because I'm just like, what's going on here? And he's looking down at me, and he starts mouthing. He doesn't say, you can't, no sound, but he starts mouthing. He goes, you got a problem with me? Like, right? Like, he's like looking at me. He's like, you got a problem with me? Like, fucking, wait a minute. And he's like, I can't quite make it out, but it's like, you got a problem with me? And it's like some other thing where it's like, what are you looking at? You know, all that stuff. So then I look back up at him, and I point at myself, and I'm just like, are you talking to me? It wasn't like the taxi driver thing. It was more genuine,
it probably
genuine curiosity, you know. And so then I'm like pointing at myself, and you can tell the genuine confusion on my face. And so then he just is like, and he just like looks away in anger. And it's very strange. So then, when the MARTA train stops at 5 Point Station, the right side door is open. And then a few seconds later, the left side door is open. So he goes to the left. But, you know, I'm really curious about this guy. So I actually, like, go and stand behind him to see what he's going to do. I was just curious as to where he was headed. Mm-hmm. And then the door opens, and he, like, makes a quick right out of there. And then he, like, kind of, like, hustles off to this side of the platform where there aren't any staircases or anything. So I'm just like, I'm going to work. And that's the story.
So,
you talking to me?
Right.
You talking to me?
Like, are you talking to me?
I'm going back to the tap. He tapped you twice before he got up. And to me, I'm thinking it's like his, hey, watch this. Like he's got a performance art piece for you or something.
Oh, okay.
It's like, I'm about to, be a character.
I'm about to do...
You're involved, whether you like it or not.
That's a great improvisational performance piece.
Leave it to the theater guy to make it, like, cool.
I love it, yeah.
That's not cool. That guy was just being a jackass.
There was a flash mob coming.
Yeah, he gave
you... We had no idea.
You were about to walk into a flash mob.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. I would love to see a flash mob.
Right now, he's probably like, God, I don't know why that guy didn't follow me off the train. I gave him everything.
Did you guys ever see Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Sure.
Yeah.
Remember the guy who was the fiance who beat the shit out of George Clooney in the Woolworths?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like you remember, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what he looked like.
He has that straight up stance when he fights.
Yeah, that's what he looked like. That
Did
guy.
you think that you might get hit?
No,
Okay.
I never thought I was going to get hit.
Any other signifying, like besides the stars? Was he have any other badges or anything?
No, just the stars in the collar and a blue jumpsuit, and then an enormous backpack. And it would be cool if he listens to this podcast because I really want to know.
I doubt he does. But hey, if you're listening and you're that guy, email us
That's
at
what I know what his deal was.
ATL.
Sure.
at gmail.com. We'd love to hear your side of the story.
He doesn't have a side. He's crazy.
But maybe
He doesn't get to have a
but
side.
crazy is a side. Maybe you're being a dick. Maybe you're
Wait. You're positing that crazy people get to have a side of the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's three sides
Like
to every
Charles
story.
Manson gets to tell his side.
He does.
I think comparing this guy to Charles Manson right up.
Yeah, it's not like he murdered a whole family or influenced people to do so. He just tapped you on the shoulder and
He mouthed, "Do you have a?" He was being very.
You got a problem with me?
He was being very confrontational. He was like, "Yeah,
To his credit, it sounds like you had a problem with him.
I had a problem afterwards."
You are bitching about him on a podcast.
I mean, sure.
You know what you should have done? You should have said yes. I do have a problem.
Well, I was genuinely confused if he was talking to me.
Yeah.
because he had no issue with me. I let him out.
Yeah, he didn't do anything to.
If anything, he
stop
should
him.
Yeah, he should be thanking me for letting him out when he was like, "Let me out."
Yeah.
You know, I think this is a great time for an audio clip from Scene Missing.
Ooh. Okay.
Jason, why don't you give us a little intro as to what clip we're about to hear?
My sweetie, the best part of the Lost Boys show, Cherry Del Rosario.
Cherry Del Rosario.
And so this clip is actually her from our previous incarnation, Scene Missing, where we did on a show all about the 80s fantasy movies, because it was called At Labyrinth.
Okay.
You know, and so it's just like she did a couple of covers. So these are 2 different covers.
Greetings. I've traveled distant lands to be here tonight. I'm going... What? Sing a song. Duh, yeah, I'm gonna sing. Bossy birds. So yes, I've traveled distant lands to be here tonight to sing a song for you. I hope you enjoy it. Jareth, the Goblin King, was a legend. He steals kids and wears purple tights, and he takes them down to a maze. He looked really good, though. Then there's an emo cloud called the Nothing. Destroys resistance with his dude Gamork, and he is snarling with a scary fucking face. Traumatizing all the kids in the 80s, right? But what would the world be like without a villain? To test the strength and the courage of a hero fair. Well, I, for one, would love to run away and join them. And I would be a villain all the day. And I could be a villain all the day. Then there's the sorceress Bavmorda, whose idea of Planned Parenthood is keeping pregnant girls in a cave. I mean, that sounds legit, right? Then there are my favorites, the Skeksis. Even though they look like giant old gay turkeys, still your soul away. Your very fucking essence. But what would the world be like without a villain? To test the strength and the courage of a hero fair. Well, I, for one, would love to run away and join them. And I could be a villain all the day. I'd love to be a villain all the day. All right, full disclosure, I tried to memorize this really well, but I didn't do a good job, so I'm going to read it. But these jokes are worth it, I promise. Hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Sing Missing! Just waking up in the morning in a dense fog. Teeny weeny on a snail sitting on a log. Falcor on my squad, my dog. And it's even smelling good by the stench bog. I saw a Red Bull, but didn't bug out. He was getting freaky with a unicorn, no doubt. Put on my boots and jacket, heading for the door. Bought a dime bag from my little homie Willow. I gotta go, cause I'm always going non-stop. I'm working for a witch, so she can make the spells drop. Had to stop for a bright light, dark crystal glowing, not a Skeksis in sight. And everything is alright. I got a text from a hawk, and she's a lady all night. Called up the goblins, and I'm asking y'all, which trick is Jareth taking to the ball? Get me on the dance floor, I'm trouble. Last week went to the ball, got put inside a bubble. Like a beast master on his sword and sorcery game. I can't believe today was a good day. Ladies and gentlemen, special guest rapper and my best friend, Diana Brown!
Went to King Haggard, spent an hour saving unicorns from the sea with my power. But just yesterday, Bab Mortar tried to blast me. Saw a skull masked man, and he strolled right past me. No flexing, didn't even look in an Elwyn's direction. I got fivers out of protection. Went to Falcor's house, he was watching as Atreyu napped. There's a happy R-tax coming up, coming up, coming up, coming. Rolling with the master of beasts and watch him summon. Kodo, Kodo and Podo, Kodo and Podo, and Podo's little cute baby ferrets, yo. Went to the castle, we broke the spell, and now I'm not a wolf no more. 'Cause nobody I know got trapped in a magical maze. Today was a good day.
Thank you, Scene Missing! Always use your imagination and never grow up!
Cherry Del Rosario, Scene Song Missing. That was great. Thank you for sharing that with us, Jason.
Sure, from the archives.
Yeah, man. So you are doing a show January 24th. When was the last Scene Missing that you did?
Well, probably the Lady Gaga show at the Drunken Unicorn in 2016. And Eli had actually gotten involved, and Twin Head had gotten involved to come in and try to produce some shows. Yeah. But that was sort of when we were hitting a real rough patch, show running wise, you know? Like it was a bad time in general just to run shows, I would say, right? You were having your own issues, right, Eli?
Oh yeah, definitely. And it was it was a tough year. That was on a personal level. That was the year Diana and I got married, and we were all over the place for a lot of that year. I remember when Twin Head came in to start helping with the producing of Scene and Song Missing, which was something that you and I had sort of worked out together. Yeah. And then right as it was happening, we were in wedding mode. Yeah. And then took our big, long, super awesome honeymoon.
And by the time you got back
for the first two shows.
Yeah, and by the time you got back, I was like, I can't do this
made a total
anymore.
mess of things. I was like, I shouldn't have left.
Yeah, like Curious George, just knocking stuff over in the kitchen.
No, but
but no, I mean, it was initially it was funny because it was like we were supposed to have this like kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like Twin Head was going to go being like a much heavier presence.
Yeah,
and. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add in that we were, at the time, and still are, wanting to... Part of our nonprofit is to help other artists produce their work.
Exactly, yeah.
And getting more directly involved with helping other people produce their projects is something that we want to do. We just find ourselves stretched than producing our own projects sometimes, and then,
Well, what was funny, too,
shows became difficult.
You had this whole plan to, as part of this thing, Atlanta Showrunners, where we were going to, like, test out... Like,
I remember that.
Yeah, paying for other people's shows and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and like,
That's nice that you remember that.
Hey, I came to the meeting.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
great. There was two of them.
Yeah,
I came to both of them.
Yeah, and Twin Head was like, really, it was more Atlanta Showrunners. It was, but essentially Eli was spearheading this whole thing. Like piloting the ship essentially. But the thing is like just as you guys were getting involved, and just as you like made your first investment in the first few shows. The bottom fell out. Yeah. Right. And like it wasn't sustainable, and like I got hit burnout, and I couldn't I think we had like 10 people at our last show. Yeah.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah. So like your question is actually bringing back very unpleasant times. But I will say it's a good segue because for the newly incarnated Scene Song, there's a ton of changes.
Yeah.
For example, like we don't, we do the designs in-house now. as opposed to paying an artist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I love illustrations, I love art, but it was an unnecessary
expensive.
cost. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another aspect of it is Ellery Yeagley,
Yeah.
who co-produced Blue Stocking Society, all this stuff. She's actually coming in and she's helping me out. And one of the first things that I said to her, and I hope she doesn't mind me talking about this, but one of the first things I said to her was I was like, I can't do the finances.
Yeah.
I can't handle, like, I need your help with the finances, like, in addition to the marketing and all that stuff. And then Eli and I actually are also sort of in preliminary talks about bringing you in aboard the show. Like, essentially, like, I'm trying to make Scene Song modular in that the team every month can be whoever's interested in being a part of the team.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I wanna do it.
And, like,
Can I do one?
well, first of all,
Come on, baby, let's do it. Hey, why is all these other jokers get in, but I can't?
it's not about, first of all, Eli's no joker. But what I'm saying,
All these other jokers.
here's the thing: it's designed to be modular, but it's also designed to be run with a small team. But like nobody has to commit.
I'm a team of one, baby.
Well, all right.
No, that's good. That's to get rid of the burnout factor, which always happens.
Right. And like the guest hosts are going to be switched out, and
I don't want to host it.
Right.
I just want to produce it.
You want to produce? Okay,
That's great.
What are you going to do? What are you pitching to do though? Is the thing?
Give me like 48 hours, baby. I'll bring it.
Okay,
Come on.
Well,
Hey,
No, this is gold because I'll tell you one of the hardest things that we have in Twin Head finding is people that want to work on production elements who don't want to be featured on stage.
oh, I don't give a shit about
Yeah,
that.
it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
My
tough.
my name's not on anything. My name is I am only like visible on this project.
Yeah.
Because I talk a lot and that's good on a podcast. So.
Well, I will say though, like all joking aside though, like it is meant to be like, you know, if someone comes to the team and they have something that they can contribute, then yes, please come aboard. You know, with the right, you know, like if it's needed and someone's offering to do it, then we're all going to come together for the sake of putting on a good show. And one of the things that we agreed on, Ellery and I, is that after our costs, after our overhead, you know, because she actually ran the charitable side of Blue Stockings in its initial stuff, you know, its initial run, to the best of my knowledge, at least. I don't, you know, obviously I don't know who had what specific role, but she had experience with it, and that's what's important, is that she knew how to run the charitable stuff. So, you know, one of the things that we talked about is after operating costs, for example, this Prince show, the proceeds are going to go toward one of Prince's favorite charities.
Oh, that's cool. I
that's
like
awesome.
that.
But then we're also going to split it between that and then comparable local charity.
Yeah.
So it's like Prince themed, and it's contributing to something that Prince loved, and it's also contributing locally.
That's cool.
Oh, that
You
is
know.
great.
So and Ellery is going to be spearheading that, and
Yeah.
so like, you know, I think one of the most crucial things that you can do is if something's not working on a team, and you're the problem, which I was with the finances for Scene Missing. Like, it wasn't just the fact that we weren't selling tickets; it was like the finances were all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't like they were being used nefariously. It was just like
It's a lot to manage.
the way people were getting paid out was nuts. You
Yeah.
know, it was crazy. Like, and I just was like, I was green at it. Like, if you're not a financial manager, if you're not an accountant, you know, if you don't know, if you've never had any experience financially running a show, you're gonna fuck it up. You're gonna make a mistake.
Yeah.
Unless things are running perfectly. But the minute you have a bad month,
Yeah.
you know, like you've got to plan like 4 steps ahead. You can't just be living like a check to check kind of system. You know, with shows.
Totally.
So,
Well,
It's
hey,
not sustainable.
just call me. Let me know.
yeah, I would actually, I would love to talk about that. I would love to.
I mean, I've also had like a drink, and I'm like, that sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome, right? But like the thing is too is it's like, you know, essentially it's like the charity thing also kind of removes the money motivator as well, and now you're all just together to make a good show,
Right.
Oh yeah, I mean,
You know.
we don't do this to make money, so
And then, you know, Eli, you guys have done a ton of charitable stuff. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, essentially, you operate as a charity, right? Nonprofit, or
Yeah, we're a nonprofit. We that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Well, like your last 5/5, for example,
Right. 5/5 was that was a really awesome show. It was borrowed from other Fringe Festival. The concept being that they would take a popular movie, split it up into 5 parts, and have 5 different groups of artists reinterpret that, eat a chunk of that movie, and then they do it all together in one night. So we did the Karate Kid, that's awesome. And it was a really great show, and all 5 parts were so like incredibly different from each other, and it was super fun. And that was to benefit the Atlanta Fringe Festival, which is a project we produced.
Didn't the Karate Kid actually show up?
Ralph Macchio was there.
Yeah.
And I was playing him in our part, so that was super weird. We heard, because they're doing that new Karate Kid TV show for YouTube in town, and they caught wind of the show. Like a friend of Diana's was working on the production and got word to them. And, we're thinking like, oh, wouldn't that be funny if they showed up? And then they started emailing us, hey, can we set tickets aside? Can we show up? We're like, oh my God. And and then like we didn't even expect it, and Ralph Macchio showed up for the show, had a great time. It was super nice, and came up and took pictures of everybody afterwards.
Could you imagine if Prince showed up at your show?
Well, I mean, when we
There'd be a lot of questions.
did the first one, we were like, yes. I mean, when we did an Outcast show, we were like, I wonder if Outcast will show up, Yeah. We did, anybody can show up to anything, really. John Hamm can show up to your John Hamm show,
That is actually the show that I was going to pitch to you if I did see Missing. It was going to be the John Hamm show.
I mean, if
I'd do it.
Yeah, you do
I'd
it.
do it.
You do the John Hamm show?
Yeah, I do the
He's
John
all
Hamm show.
everybody wears suits.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, it's like I feel like all of us here in this room, at least, are very vested in the continuing success of the Atlanta arts community and the Atlanta performing community. Mm-hmm. Like all of us are contributing the best we know how against a pretty tough system, you know.
Yeah.
So,
especially to make it last over a long period of time. It's one thing to put on just like one event, but to play in multiple events. And that's where it gets tricky.
I mean, God, I always admired your tenacity with scene and song.
Well, this one isn't going to be monthly. This is going to have time spaced out.
But this in the past, though, I mean, you're running 2 shows a month for at least a year or so. I mean, I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, to run 1 show a month, I never bit off that. That just seemed...
Well, but look what happened to me, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, you fucking did it, though. That's awesome.
Right. Sure, but not without getting burned.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, it wasn't the right path.
Yeah.
What I should have done was taken it much more manageable and much more slowly.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you're going to run a show anywhere, in any city, big or small, like, you have to manage your time, and you have to protect yourself from some really intense stuff, which is weird to say because it's like any one of us could easily just be called hobbyist.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we all have day jobs.
Totally.
So I don't know. What do you think, Eli?
I've heard that before.
Just as a hobbyist
yeah,
thing? Yeah.
Am I funding your hobby here? No, that's... Yeah, it's hard to kind of fight back against that. You start second-guessing yourself. Wait, am I just doing this as a hobby?
I don't like when people say passion project, because they
Right.
say it in like a little sarcastic tone, like, oh, that's your passion project.
Right.
Fuck them. They're just jealous.
I love
'Cause
the...
They're bored.
Yeah.
They go home and manicure their lawn. I don't know.
Wait, you're mad at somebody for having a lawn?
I'm not mad at somebody for having a lawn.
Just
I'm not mad at somebody for having a lawn. I think it's I don't even think it's rude. I think it's clueless when someone decides to create something, whether it be a passion project or whether it be a hobby, to create culture. Twinhead. How long has Twinhead been around for now?
God, what year is it? 2017. I've been with them for 13 years. I think they've been 15, 16.
That is not a hobby. That is creating culture for a city that wants it.
Thank you for saying
scene
so.
missing, song missing. That was a staple for a number of years. That was a go-to show. Like, whether you're going broke on that shit or not, I don't fucking care. You were creating the base of art in Atlanta, and you were giving people a platform to be able to perform and express themselves So when someone uses, I say passion project, whatever, just because a lot of things that I do are passion projects, but I don't mean it in a negative way.
Right.
But when someone uses those terms as a negative way to degrade or to belittle things that you do, no matter how fun, silly, lighthearted they may be, like, man, you know what? Fuck you, dude. Like, that's bullshit. You're just unhappy in your own life if you can't realize the potential and the value of what somebody does, regardless of whether they make money at it or not.
Yeah.
I don't fucking give a shit. None of my projects make money, and that's never been the focus of it.
Right.
Some of them have been more focused on becoming sustainable than others because of the price tag to do these things. But I look at the things that everybody in this room has done and realized like how it's pushed Atlanta forward in terms of creating culture and entertainment and inspiring other people to do the same. Yeah. And that's important no matter how much money you make on it. I'd rather go broke doing that shit than fucking living in some mansion, counting my money because I'm a fucking lawyer who hates his life and his job.
Is that how you think the law works?
Right.
What's that?
You think the law, that's what you think lawyers
I'm just saying, hey, I know some rad lawyers. I do know some rad lawyers, but I'm just saying though,
I'm just teasing.
They all spend 3 hours a day counting their money.
Yeah.
We've all agreed that our shows are very important
Totally.
and very good.
But it takes a
very
lot
cool.
to get a show going, and then also when it's reached. I mean, I know for myself when I've had a project that I'm working. Goddamn, used it right there. But like when I've worked at publishing and events, when I have a string of just bad shit happen, it's kind of hard to get back into it and then kind of start up again sometimes. So, I mean,
Sure.
What made you want to bring back Scene Missing?
The reason I'm bringing Scene and Song back is because it's been a year. Julian, my writing partner, Julian Modugno, he's moving to Chicago. And Ellery approached me at a party, or not approached me, but we got into a conversation. And we started talking about it, and she really made a convincing case for bringing it back, but this time doing it right. Like doing the charity thing, keeping the finances like real, like low maintenance, making it about just putting on a good show, and like everybody I've reached out to and everybody I've talked to about it has been pretty excited about the idea of it coming back. So just making it more manageable. I think that's the reason that I want to bring it back. Just like, let's try it again, but like, let's try it at a pace that is not going to kill me.
Yeah. Jason, you have another clip to play?
That's right. I guess I do.
What national tragedy is this one about?
Oh, I'll just set this up. It's a clip of me reading a piece about Kanye West.
Our greatest national tragedy.
Yeah.
That's a national tragedy.
I'm the opposite.
And I will say, I read this piece, and then a lady from the audience emailed me and asked me to send her the piece so she could use it for a church service.
What?
Yeah. And I think I did send it to her. I think I did. And I was like, yeah, here you go. You can just don't,
Did you ask to see, like, what she did with it?
Weirdly, no. I was just like, off you go into the world, like...
Head off to church with your Jesus.
Yeah.
Work.
So this piece inspired a woman so much that she had to share it with her church. So...
Wow.
Big shoes to fill.
Well,
Click.
everybody, enjoy this story that eventually got shuffled off to church.
All right, so typically I write comedy, but I literally just spent 5 days in Colorado with legal weed. So this is the product of me being stoned for 5 days straight. So it's a little more philosophical, so I hope you'll bear with me. Are you guys ready to hear my thoughts and music on Kanye West? All right, thank you. All right. Also, I have to read this on my phone because I sent Chris to Kinko's to go pick it up. And when he came back, I was like, oh, where's the thing I wrote?
It's not my fault. They told me they didn't have it.
I was like, where's the thing I wrote for tonight? And you were like,
And I said I would go back and get it if you wanted me to, but you said, no, I'm going to be real passive-aggressive.
Inside baseball, everybody. All right, so I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to talk to you tonight about the song "Stronger," right? Okay. So Kanye starts this song by saying, "Now that don't kill me can only make me stronger," right? And of course, he's quoting Nietzsche, that which does not kill us makes us stronger. A little variation on the quote, right? But here's the thing, I don't really agree with that, okay? Because that which does not kill me only makes me stronger treats life like a fucking video game, right? Like, if I beat a bunch of enemies on this board, then I get a cool sword and like I'm level 3 now, and you never have to worry about regression, like you're level 3 forever. Like in a video game, if you face adversity and you beat a bunch of enemies, that which does not kill you makes you stronger permanently. There's only advancement. Like you fight, you win, you get stronger, right? So in life, that which doesn't kill you can only make you stronger for a while, right? Okay, or in some ways, but in other ways, you're still vulnerable. Like physical and emotional strength comes and goes in your life. Like sometimes things happen in life and we're able to handle it, and sometimes we aren't. Sometimes you have a cool sword and you're level 42, and sometimes your dick doesn't work and you're level 2. We've all been there, right? I hope so. Trying to act like you're the same level of strong at all times is exhausting and kind of dangerous. Like, what if the thing that tried to kill you before, that only made you stronger the first time around, comes back, and this time it's like, hey, I'm adversity, I'm back, I'm going to try to kill you again, and maybe you'll be stronger, but I'll probably kill you, because I'm also learning your special vulnerabilities and techniques. I don't know, it's more like a kung fu movie. But what I'm saying is, Kanye specifically, don't beat yourself up, Kanye, if you aren't feeling as strong these days as the days in which you wrote Stronger. There's a lot of pressure to appear to be the same Kanye all the time. To be like some kind of water bottle hating, non-smiling, avant-garde genius, right? And Kanye is a genius, but his public persona, like the Kanye from the video for Power, this Christ-like ego with biblical imagery, it's all very epic, but no one man can have all that power. It's physically impossible to maintain. Okay? And Kanye knows this. Hell, even Daft Punk knows this. Alright? It's like my one Daft Punk reference to the whole season. But for example, me, when it comes to stronger, I'm only as strong as how much sleep I've had. Right? It really doesn't matter how much adversity I face. It's did I get a solid 8 hours? Then yes, I'm ready for whatever fucking bullshit you've got in store for me. Or conversely, did I stay up until 2 in the morning watching World Star Hip Hop Vine compilations? Is anybody on board with World Star Hip Hop Vine compilations? Thank you. It's like a YouTube fucking rabbit hole until 2 in the morning. And in that case, if I've done that, I'm going to be off my game a little. I might not be ready for Brenda's PowerPoint edits or mountain lion attack. It's either Brenda's PowerPoint edits or a mountain lion attack. These are the 2 challenges I face in my daily life. Alright? Anyway, so ultimately, as far as stronger goes, it doesn't matter that I fought my inner demons or haters or went through some actual physical trial. The world is constantly trying to kill you. That's what it does. That's how it works. And eventually, the world will kill you. Okay? It's a fucking bummer. It's super depressing. But that's how you know that you're not actually stronger forever, because there's I have a tombstone waiting for me, in the future. And I know that that's sad right now, but, we're all here at a Kanye West themed show, so it's fine for the moment, right? So, am I trying? Look, I told you, philosophical. I've been smoking legal weed for 5 days. So is this to diminish people's experiences, like getting in shape, or going on a diet, or making a tough personal decision, like whether or not you should let Amber Rose put a finger in your butt? No, it's not to diminish that. Like, that's what makes you a person. You know, like making personal decisions that are tough, you know, or like facing adversity. What I'm saying, though, is you can't expect yourself to be stronger forever after you go through something tough. It's temporary strength, you know, and that's okay. Like, you'll never be the exact same level of strong at all times, and you shouldn't have to be. You know, like, there's a part in this song, Stronger, right, where he goes, I need you right now. And Kanye was quoted in The Guardian during an interview as saying, if you heard that in a club, you might be looking at a girl thinking, I need you right now. But it's also a message from me to my fans that I'm coming back after a time away, and I need you right now to help me come back, okay? That's what Kanye said about his own song, Stronger. So, not to compare Kanye to Peter Pan's Tinkerbell, like you guys know Tinkerbell, she's the little fairy lady. Sure. She's Peter Pan's platonic work friend that wants to bang him, you know. But there is a part in Peter Pan where Tinkerbell dies, and the children have to clap to bring her back to life, and they have to believe in fairies. And that's what Kanye wants to do for him. In that situation. He wanted us to clap and like bring him back to life, you know? And so the line wasn't about strength, it was about support. And that's buried in a song about being strong, you know? So Kanye, like the rest of us, he has peaks and valleys. You know, so even though he's a genius, he's like never the same level of genius at all times. Like, is the Kanye on Graduation the same genius as the Kanye on The Life of Pablo? You know, like, he's had so many experiences since then. You know, like learning to use caps lock on Twitter, right? Getting booed at Bonnaroo, right? Upsetting Mike Myers. In the time between these albums, so many things have tried to kill him as a person, as an artist, as a father, as a husband, that have, at the very least, you know, made him stronger, or more importantly, different. You know, and the difference is what's important, because it's not so much important that you were strong 100% of the time, but it is important that you change and that you adapt to the things that happen to you. So, wrapping up, there's an old parable, right? Yeah, I'm working on an old parable. Does anybody get more excited when they hear the words, there's an old parable, right? All right, so there's an old parable, and it's called The Oak and the Reed. And essentially, there's an oak tree and a reed on the side of this pond, and there's like a storm coming, right? And the oak tree is totally talking shit. You know, like he's like, I'm an oak tree, I'm fucking strong as shit. This storm is not gonna fuck me up. You guys are gonna be gone because you're a bunch of dumb reeds. I'm a strong oak tree. You have a little baby dick. Paraphrasing this parable, okay? And so the storm blows in, and of course the oak tree is fucking snapped in half because it tried to be strong, whereas the reed just bends with the wind, you know? And it doesn't rely on having to try to be the strongest. So I think that even though this song is called Stronger, that Kanye West is the reed, because he changes things up. You know, he's not afraid to experiment, even if those experiments get super weird. You know, he's not afraid to show vulnerability, you know, and he seems to appreciate the value of temporary strength. So, that having been said, let's have a toast for the douchebags. Let's have a toast for the assholes. Let's have a toast for the scumbags, right? And let's have a toast for Kanye West, the Tinkerbell of the music industry, in a good way, all right? And the reed that bends with the wind.
Jesus.
So the Kanye thing, that's over with now. That's goodbye to that clip.
Yeah.
Is he still doing stuff?
Yes,
Kanye?
he's getting ready.
What's lined up next for Kanye?
He's got to get that album out. I'm just waiting.
Yeah, he's gonna drop a good album.
He's married to Beyonce, right?
All right, you gotta at least you gotta play the game at least. You gotta
I am not. You know what?
You're not a Kanye fan? Yeah.
His first record I thought was rad, and then he put out a few other records, and I thought those were pretty cool too.
Yeah.
And then he just got super egotistical.
So you just don't like his ego.
Yeah, it's just I gotta say I do love that song video and parody video for Bound #2.
Okay.
That's awesome. That
right.
song, like, what the fuck is that? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great song.
It's so ridiculous. I don't know if it's funny or amazing. I can't
I think it's a great love song.
That one part where he
Mike Dean
he
beat.
talks about like fucking Kim Kardashian, and then he says Jesus wept. Like, what is that? Like, that's amazing. Whether it's funny or not, I don't know, but it's
pretty crazy.
It's
pretty
so
crazy.
weird. Like, he's like, remember when we first met? I don't remember when we first met. Something. I fucked you on the bathroom sink. Jesus
Sure.
wept.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that is like so abstract.
Okay.
And then you wrote a piece about it, or about him.
Well, I didn't.
And now people call him Jesus. Talk about a pop culture icon, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Literally, Jesus Christ.
Jesus
Not me
Christ,
just saying Jesus Christ.
He made Dark Fantasy, and then he made Jesus, and nothing else matters.
Like,
He
your
can do whatever he
nickname
wants.
is a parody
Sure.
on the savior of the world.
Okay. I mean,
That's amazing. That's so much. Like, what if I just came out and I was just like, I'm no longer John Carroll. You can call me John Christ. That's like kind of like what.
well,
he
are you a
did.
good producer? Are you making good tracks? Like, are you making amazing, genius level tracks?
Yeah.
And sure, that can be the first
That
line.
determines the
I
savior,
make
I
no
think,
tracks.
these days.
Yeah.
Wait, what? That even sounded like a kind of a good line. Like, it was like, what was it? What did you say? You were like, don't call me.
Don't call me John Carroll. Call me John Christ.
Right. Like, that's a
Yeah.
great opening line for an album.
If
you've got
maybe I'll get into this.
beats.
Maybe I'll next passion project, quote unquote, will be a rap project.
Are you locking the next savior into music specifically? Or could you take another medium?
What other medium would you take?
Oh, I don't know.
Jason? Do you think that Kanye is our savior?
No, of course not. What are you talking
Do you
about?
believe in a savior?
Quick.
Quick,
What do you
answer.
have there?
I'm gonna punt to Eli. What do you do?
What do you guys believe? Like, what do you?
Very little.
Where does your faith lie?
What's your fundamental
We're getting deep.
religious beliefs, Eli?
Well, this is darker than 9/11, I think. No, yeah. We don't have time for all that.
give me like the 30-second like 50,000.
He's not gonna let you get away.
50,000 foot view of like your belief system.
Look, go through the world, experience as much as you can. You got 5 senses, use them. I mean, more probably. That's the long and short of it. I think.
You believe in a sixth sense.
I think there's supposed to be like 12 senses. Isn't there? When scientists,
12
they're like, there's all these
senses,
others. I mean, there's a sense of time and.
But
sense
I
of
like
humor and
that.
Things like that.
You did it in like 7 seconds, and I said 30.
Yeah, I mean, we are walking sensory receptors, and there's a big physical world full of all kinds of different things. And I think that's all we got to do is just go experience it as much as possible.
Use your 5 senses.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Matt, you used to be a pastor.
Yeah,
You are no longer one.
that is true. That is a fact.
We've discussed this a lot over
Yeah.
the show. We both had religious upbringings and explored that in our adulthood. 50,000 foot view, 30 seconds, elevator pitch. What's it all about, man?
What's it all about? Life's a ride. Don't be a dick.
That's good. I like that. Man, you guys are giving me like
Yeah.
5 to 7 seconds.
Start out with a Bill Hicks belief system
Yes.
right there. Life's a ride.
God, man, what a
Just that little tag that's needed.
What a revolution!
True. A lot of people need that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill
Don't
Hicks,
be a dick.
man. I love that. Jason,
30 second.
50,000 foot view, 30 seconds. These guys are
Can
Doing it in 5.
Think about it for a second. Can I think?
Yeah,
Think
yeah.
of it during the 12 seconds that we
Well, I guess. Well, you're thinking about it. John Christ, what's yours?
So I was reading this book by this German philosopher.
Oh, boy.
He wrote this book in the 50s.
Your 30 seconds is already up.
No. He wrote a book called The Art of Loving. And I haven't read all the book yet, but I bought the book based on this one quote that I read from it that said, "The cure for the existential crisis is love."
Okay.
That quote almost sums up most
That is
everything.
really nice. That is really
Yeah,
that's
so
great.
that's my kind of take on it. You could even, if you wanted to relate it to someone who's religious, maybe they have a belief system that is based on the teachings of Christ or the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus being confronted by the Pharisees and the Sadducees,
Yeah.
was asked, what are the greatest commandments? He said, hey, number 1, love God. Number 2, love your neighbor.
Okay.
Who knows what God is? So I'm not really a lot of us aren't quite sure about that. But hey, love your neighbor.
Okay.
And who's your neighbor? Everybody's your neighbor.
Sure.
Be rad. You know, that's kind of.
I love it.
If I had to do 2 words, be rad.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
Okay. What do you got, man?
Well, I actually lately have been operating on what I like to call the haunted house system.
I love this.
already I'm into it. Yeah.
Well, essentially, the haunted house system is the belief that both the external and the interior worlds are haunted houses where any number of horrors are waiting out to spring out at any moment.
Oh.
Right?
Right.
Because think about it. Like, you go through, now to expand on it, I don't know. I'm this is well past 30 seconds, but essentially what it means is, like, you've got, you ever been walking around and have a fucking bad memory pop up?
Yeah.
Or, like, you ever have fucking somebody be rude to you during the day and it
Yeah.
sticks
Yes.
with you all day, like an echo all day long?
Yes.
That's the fucking haunted house system. The whole internal, external, there's always shit out there just waiting to spring out at you at any moment. Right?
Right.
Like a guy in a blue jumpsuit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
There's always something waiting out there to fuck with you. It doesn't matter who you are. And so the system is to essentially wait and be prepared for that part of it. Just be mindful. Just fucking
Okay.
as your day goes by, just know your own point of view and know that something's going to spring out.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect day. And so, and then I also have a belief that your subconscious mind, never mind. It's too crazy. It's too crazy. It's too crazy.
I like
this.
it. I like the whole.
Well, no, I think that your subconscious mind has automatically clocked everything around you automatically. As soon as you walk into a room, your subconscious mind already knows. I've already, like, while we've been talking all this stuff, my subconscious mind has already looked around and clocked everything in here.
Yeah.
You know, I know that there's illustrations and stuff on the wall. I know there's maps over here. I know that you're wearing a black hoodie. You know, I know that there's a couch over here behind me, and that, you know, you got some fucking healthy chips in your kitchen, and probably some novelty glasses in there. I think I picked up on those a little bit. But you know, your fucking subconscious mind, like, picks up on shit all the time, and so using that in conjunction with the haunted house system is a great system, because what it means is like, in my opinion, if you just fucking wait and just let shit unfurl in front of you and just chill out for a fucking minute and, like, really let your subconscious mind just gather its impressions and then making a decision of what your instincts are telling you. Usually, they might not always be right, but you'll be fucking not freaked out.
Yeah.
You won't be horrified by the haunted house shit that's jumping out at you, because you'll be fucking, like, you took a couple extra seconds to fucking let your conscious and your unconscious mind work together in conjunction to fucking figure this shit out.
Unify
And
yourself.
90% of the time, I feel satisfied with the way problems are resolved using this system. 10% of the time,
How much
I sound like a crazy person.
How much of an active role do you have to take in working through these things, or do you literally just wait for them to pass?
Well, it's a tough mindset to get into, but essentially, waiting's the easiest thing in the world to do.
Right.
So if you're freaked out, if you're having anxiety, or if you're fucking scared of something, if you wait a minute and just assess it and just sit. Like, you don't have to like think real hard about it. You don't have to do anything. Just fucking sit for a minute and just like take a beat. Like, the more beats you take with something, I feel like the more everything in your mind is going to process and pick up on additional details. That's the thing. Every scene doesn't present every detail immediately to you.
No.
You know, and everybody always puts this pressure on themselves to have the fucking right answer immediately.
Well, sometimes there's a scene missing.
Thank you. That is end the episode. The episode's over. It's done.
Yeah, I like what you're saying.
That's how it ends.
I like what you're saying, though. You're just saying, be patient.
No.
No, don't be patient.
No, patience isn't always the right answer to it.
But you're saying just sit there.
Expect nightmares.
Yes, expect nightmares, but when I say just sit there, I mean mentally. I don't mean physically. Because
Yeah,
you could be moving while all this is happening. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
Don't
like,
dwell.
just fucking, just in your brain, instead of being.
Should you examine the nightmare?
If you want,
Okay.
it doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing, is it's like, and calling it nightmare is like kind of projecting a lot of negativity on it. Sometimes you just have problems.
Yeah.
You just got shit that's going to jump out at you all day long. But like, you know, with that guy on the train today, like, I could have just as easily gotten into a fight. I could have been like, yeah, I'm looking at you, you know, like if I'd been a different type of person, I could have gotten instantly angry. But instead I was just like taking a few beats and being like, what is this guy's deal?
Yeah.
You know, and it made it easier not to be afraid of him because I was like sitting there, and it's not like I think I'm this badass fighter. It's not like I think I'm this martial artist that can fucking take out anybody. Quite the opposite. But at the very least, I had enough faith in my own abilities to where I could just sit there and be like, you know, I'm gonna fucking just sit here and like whatever this guy does, I'm just gonna take a few extra beats. The rule being, take as many beats as you can until you can't. Because there are definitely some things that happen that require immediate attention or immediate reaction.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I would say 98% of encounters that you're going to have in your life, conversations, things that you're anxious about, like, all of them have a way more time to react to than people put them pressure on themselves to react to. And nobody ever just lets themselves just fucking just, like, chill out for a minute and just let the moment unfurl in front of you.
Let it process.
You'd be surprised at what your brain comes up with if you just fucking sit there. And I feel like I'm going off on a long rant about this.
Well, it's just making me think of it, and it's not to counter your point, but it just makes me think of situations where, you know, we have the, to use a popular word, privilege of being able to kind of wait those things out sometimes.
Sure.
Versus, like, somebody could have been in a much more threatened situation on the train than you were. But yeah. No, it's still a nice...
It helps.
Yeah.
But it's not foolproof.
It does.
It's not
No.
foolproof.
No,
You
that's
can't.
no situation.
There's no system.
Well, too, I like in conjunction, sort of marrying what you said and what I said too. Is another thing with haunted houses, and you go through and you kind of enjoy the frights,
right?
Too. It's just another experience to sort of take in.
Yes, exactly.
And obviously, of course, there's degrees of that. There's obviously like horrors people live through every day that. No, they're not going to enjoy it. Oh, I just like feeling sad so I can feel something, you know, like, obviously.
I love being threatened on the train.
yeah, exactly.
It's a cool experience to have, different, you know, but...
That's a great point. You know, like, sometimes you enjoy, because it's part of being human. And that's the other thing, is this system allows you to be anxious. It allows you to be sad or angry or upset and experience negative emotions. It just doesn't allow them to fucking drive the car, like we were talking about off mic earlier. You know, like, it doesn't, like, now it's like, I feel that sadness or I feel that anger or that fear, but it's not the only voice in my head that's like fucking steering. So
I guess, is it a mentality of everything will be fine, you know, if you just wait it out and handle it? Or
no, it's a mentality of, how do I put this? It's like, I guess it is kind of an everything will be fine, but you could also die.
Right.
You know, like, everything's going to be fine, but only because things aren't...
There's an open world philosophy.
Things aren't as big as you think they are.
Yeah.
You know, your fear doesn't have to be as big as you think it is.
Yeah.
You know, like your anger or any emotion, like everything is as big as you let it be. You know, and so, like, fucking, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, you know, if you have stage fright, for example, and you come out on stage. Like I remember one issue I used to have when I was performing is I would come out and I would immediately start talking and just like launch into it, and I would let all that nervous energy feed into my voice, and I wasn't really thinking about what I was saying.
Yeah.
And I was just up on stage. I was afraid of people. I was afraid of the audience, and I was just like, da-da-da-da-da. So it was like became like this word, fucking vomit, and it didn't really make sense. I mean, it made sense, but it was like I could have sold it way better. But then I started noticing if I just got up there and I didn't say a word immediately, and you just like let
it pass.
let it pass, and then like all of a sudden it's like you find your footing. So it's a way to find your footing.
Yeah.
You know, like what may happen after that is, you know, who knows, but at least you'll feel like a little bit more sure-footed.
That's cool.
From pop culture to existentialism. I think that's what Lit and Bruised is all about, Matt.
I guess so. And, 9/11 to here.
Never forget Lit and Bruised.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. And I've said it before, but don't die dumb.